Jack Clarke steals the show as Town beat Coventry 2-0 to take all 3 points. That's 4 points from 6. And of course, Wes Burns gets himself on the score sheet. It's live. We're breaking it all down. We want you to join us on the show or in our live chat. It's the Talking Town match reaction. Let's go. Hello again, friends, and you are my friends, and welcome to your match reaction show. Clarke steals the show as Town take all 3 points, and that's, of course, 4 from 6 over the Christmas period. A brilliant result, a great performance. We want to know from you how you saw it. What did you make of the performance? Who stood out for you, and who was your man of the match? Jack Clarke won it, and, of course, Wesley Burns back on the score sheet, back playing, back scoring. It's a thing of beauty, and Town are now just sort of, asking Middlesbrough the question with those 3 points. And of course, that's 6 points from Coventry this year. As people said in the watch along I did, can we play Coventry every week? There's a live link in our chat. Should you wish to come on the show and have your say, you are more than welcome to. We want you to. If not, voice message us. It's free. Don't have to sign up. No name, no details need to be left. But free voice message, as easy as a WhatsApp voice note at speakpipe.com/talking Town. Don't forget we are partnered with Stowmarket Osteopaths and Match Bingo, and we've combined with Match Bingo to give you a 100% deposit bonus when you use the word Town, all in caps. Minimum is £10. Terms and conditions apply. Please gamble responsibly. Visit begambleaway.com for more information. Over 18s only. Link in the description or scan the QR code on the screen next to the logo to play now. Steve, Town have won. What's your instant reaction thoughts?
Was probably the best away performance we've had this season. We just looked so controlled. There was a lot of panic about, well, Davis isn't playing. I thought we looked so balanced at the back, especially when what's name was going forward. Greaves was going forward. We didn't miss Davis, as amazing as it sounds. But it was one of those games that before it started, I was going, I'll take a draw here. I'll be happy with a draw. And then after that first half, I thought, this is really going to bite us in the arse because we should be winning it. Fair play to them. That keeper made an outstanding save. How he saved that, I do not know. And second half started, and it was like a bit more like, a basketball game, but they were a bit having a few more chances than we were. And I just thought, This is not, and then it comes down to it. Just one little bit of luck. That's all it was. A little bit of luck. Sort of what we didn't get on Saturday, the other day. The ball just wasn't dropping for us in the box. There were plenty of balls in. There were plenty of times it was in the box. It was just bouncing into one of their players. We just got a bit of luck. Fortunately, we got a little bit of luck off Wolfenden. It went straight into the net. And then for Wes to come on and for Wes to score and to go to the other right back, the right wingers, this is what you're here for. This is what you're here to do. These are the positions you've got to get into. The ball will come if you get into these positions. And that kind of thing will benefit the likes of McAtee, will benefit the likes of Egley, because they'll see a player who can play and is used to playing in our situation, in our position, the way we play. And they will see that that's how that position is supposed to be played. And I think they'll benefit from that. And I think long term, I think it will do them all a world of good.
Yeah, Bradish 93 in our chat. Hull beaten Borough 1-0. Lee, that's what happens when teams try to play football against us. Sadly, not many do. Chris Boyd giving Greaves freedom in Lee's role, unlocked him, his best performance in a Town shirt. And I said in the watch along, Steve, Jake, and I said yesterday, Jacob Greaves' best performances for Town have come at left back. And once again this evening, he was everything you wanted in replacement of Leif Davis. Look, he's no Leif Davis going forward. That's a given. It's not going to happen. He's a centre half playing left back, but he's not poor going forward. He can join in with attacks and he can get himself involved. He perhaps should have scored in the first half with a header, got across the Coventry defender really well, just couldn't direct it either side. But his defensive play is a different element to Ipswich Town that we've not had under Leif Davis, because as you would expect, being a centre half playing left back, Steve, defensively he's really good.
And you get that extra person who's like 6 foot odd in the box when his crosses are coming in. where you don't get that with Leif Davis. And
Absolutely.
we know that Greaves is a better defender than Leif Davis because he's a defender, So with Leif Davis playing, I do prefer Leif Davis playing because he gives you that attacking thrust. At the end of the day, the name of the game is scoring goals. There was a couple of occasions where, like, Clarke flicked it over the top and Greaves wanted it to feet. Davis would have been in there, So there's a couple of moments where it didn't quite, but that could be just because he doesn't play it very often. I think the last time was Watford, and he was excellent then as well, So I like him there. I think he's a good deputy to play there. It makes me wonder now whether that also features into players who are going to be leaving, that we've got a player who can play in central defence and left back. Maybe the likes of Harry Clarke, the likes of Ben Johnson. Maybe they're not needed anymore. And that's two spaces that we can free up there. And I just think going forward, the whole game today would give everybody a boost in confidence. Coventry's never been beaten by anyone this season. Yes, well,
they have now.
Well, haven't been beaten at home by anyone. Well,
they have now.
We've beaten them home and away. They've never been beaten by anyone home and away. And the top and bottom of it is it gives us, it takes that monkey off our back that we can't perform away. Yes, we can. We can go against what people would say is the best team in this league. Yeah, and nullify them so much. In the first half, they had one shot. They scored 40 goals, and in the first half they had one shot. That's how impotent they were, and that was a fantastic. That proves to the players they can do this. They can play like this. So you can turn around and say that they weren't coming at us because we didn't allow them to come at us. It's as simple as that. They were defending because we were attacking them, and we still found a way to break them down. I think played into Ireland's second half because they tried to come out a bit more and it left spaces. But first half, we could have still been 2 goals up, and they weren't attacking us because they didn't have any attacks. They were just defending for their lives in that first half. So that gives me more confidence, and I think it should give the players more confidence. They're capable of doing it.
Yeah, and Rax Max says, great end to the year, but don't let the standards drop against Oxford next game. This win means now, if not all 3 points taken against Oxford. Great comment, and a happy new year to you, Rax. Harps, that was much better. Impressed with Greaves. He also asked, where's Mike? Mike is in the chat. We've got Carl. Where was the comment? I just had it a second ago. I've lost it. We'll carry on. Leighton says 4-2-4. I think if Philogene plays right with Egley and Akpom between them, and Nunez beside Matasiwa. We've got Emily, our best performance on TV all season. We were the better team, all from kickoff, with the best away following and consistent too. Proud to have been a Blue since I've been little. Thank you, Dad. Hey, it's the best football club in the world, Emily. So absolutely. Carl says, I'm very impressed with everyone on the pitch, especially impressed with Greaves' performance on the left back position and the look on Frank's face. Didn't look very happy, did he, Mr. Lampard? Sat in that dugout towards the end of the game, Steve. He did not look happy.
Well, no, he was screaming for another penalty as well, wasn't it? Well, it blatantly wasn't a penalty. Furlong was going to head the ball, and the guy just stood in front of him and then fell over. And he's shouting at everyone saying it should be a penalty, and the commentator's going, "There's no way that's a foul." I'm thinking, like, that's how desperate they were. They were doing anything. To be fairly honest, I think that geezer who Furlong was marking, he should have been gone a long time ago. He made about 5 or 6 fouls off the ball, which he wasn't even playing the ball. He just mortared straight for Furlong and pushed him over about 3 or 4 times. For me, he should have walked.
Look, I want to give a huge shout out to Darnell Furlong this evening, because a lot of those off the ball incidences I'm putting down to frustration, and the player is frustrated. He is not getting the better of Darnell Furlong, and from minute 0 through to the end of the game, Darnell Furlong 1v1 was just in control of that situation, stood up when he needed to stand up, and was just such a strong defender for this football team today that he isn't going to get man of the match, and he didn't get man of the match, and he may not even be in some people's tops 2 or 3, but he absolutely is in mine, Steve, because he really, a lot of what you saw off the ball for me was frustration of a player that just could not, whatever he could try to do, could beat Darnell Furlong.
And that's where I think Coventry's impotence in my mind come from the flanks. Both fullbacks, and I'll include Greaves in this, especially when the ball was going towards our goal. They were solid, they stood up to the challenge, Furlong as well. And it stopped them getting the ball into the box. Even when they did get up there, Greaves blocked the cross before it came in. And that's where most of their armour is come from, crosses into the box for someone to head it in. That's where they get the most goals from. And they're just not getting any service whatsoever. And they were resorted then to having balls from the midfield tried to play through to the striker, which our two centre-backs will gobble up. You know, it was just a perfectly executed defensive display. Everybody knew the jobs. Everybody controlled the jobs. Everybody was master of the jobs. And they just couldn't do anything about it. And I think all four of them played wonderfully well.
Yeah, absolutely. Steve, stay right there. We're going to bring in Mr. Lee Anderson, who has clicked the link. If you're sat at home and you've got something to say about your football team following a great performance, or how it looks in the future, or whatever it might be about your football team, click the link and get involved. But joining us right now is Mr. Lee Anderson. Lee, thanks for clicking the link. What's your thoughts following the 2-0 win?
Oh, what an amazing win, and everything that Stephen has just said. I know I come on the show other times, but I just thought I'd just pop on tonight for a couple of reasons. One, it reminds me of the League One season when we got promoted. I put it in the chat. Starting to feel that in that League One season, we were the best team when we got going. We were the best team, and I think we're starting to see that a little bit more now, and we show it tonight what we're capable of, and how we went about the business, and how we took the game to them, had the best chances first half without doubt. And I feared at half time because I thought, well, they're going to come out and they're going to, it's one of those games where you think, oh yeah, you've dominated the first half, and then you concede second half because they have their share of the game. They had a bit more of a share of the game, but we kept on doing what we did. And, you only got to look at 1-2-0 when they were passing the ball around the back with 10 minutes to go. In the picture, you had 3 of their defenders and 4 of our players. And we were still pushing on. They were putting the ball long, and with Greaves, the extra height, we were able to, head of the ball back up, pick the ball up and counter-attack. And that was just a pleasure to see. Was it our best performance of the season? Probably one of our best.
Mike, sorry, Lee. Mike in the chat says it has to be used as a way to kick on now. But so maybe you're getting a tad ahead of yourself, Ando.
By saying what? Sorry.
Maybe you're getting a tad ahead of yourself here, Ando, as it has to be used as a way to kick on. This performance has to be used as a way to kick on, and maybe you're getting ahead of yourself with the League One comparison, or the with a better side once we get going comparison.
Well, I've said it all along. I think I've been quite consistent. We have the best squad. There's no question about that. Can it gel and can it produce the results? I think we're starting to see that now. Am I getting ahead of myself compared to where we were in the League One season? Doesn't look much different. But the second half of this, Plymouth won that season, won the league. Fair play to them with record points. But that second half of the season, we were sublime in that division.
Sure.
And I'm not saying we're going to be as sublime, but I can just see us picking the momentum up, and I can see us going on a big run. And even if we'd have lost tonight, I've been consistent. I've still thought that all along, and we just got to stay with it. The next home game is just going to be a completely different game. As Stephen's mentioned, Coventry come out at us, they play against us. The game's open. They go toe to toe with us. We're not going to see that. We're not going to see that next home game. We're going to see a low block, but we've got to stay patient with the team. Can we get the set piece, deflected goal? Yes, there was obviously some fortune to the first goal, and thank you to Agent Wolfie for just flicking that in. Agent Burgess as well.
Ex-town defenders continues this season with Burgess 2 own goals, now Wolfie with a deflected shot. Go on, Steve.
Can I just say something? I think we all call for like 90-minute performances. For me, that was pretty much as close to a 90-minute performance as any team's going to get. Even second half, they had their moments, but we weren't overpowered or overawed in any way. First half, we were dominant, completely dominant. And are we getting ahead of ourselves? Maybe, but you've also got to think to yourself: this team has been beating people, or getting points at home against everybody in this league. No matter who's gone up against them, they've somehow found a way to win or at least drawn. They've only drawn 2. Yeah. So can we go into other games and say, well, if we can beat these home and away, we can beat these. We're better than these because we've beaten them home and away. That's just a statistical fact. So are we better than the other teams? Well, we can say, yes, yes, we lost at Leicester. I don't think Leicester were very good. We weren't very good, but I don't think Leicester were very good. Yeah, I'm not being fair. It was just 2 poor sides. One side got some good shots in, and a lot of the other games that we've thrown points, we've thrown them points away. We've given the ball away and they've scored from them. Like the Preston game, that was a weak game. I think it'd be a totally different game when Preston come play on a decent pitch and on a potato field. A lot of these things we don't really notice, like Blackburn's pitch, Preston's pitch, which are like a spud field. They really are awful. I saw Preston's pitch the other day and there was brown bits on it. When they come and play on a decent field, the game will be totally different because we'll be able to play the way we like to play, and they'll be used to playing like, well, let's keep it safe because we know what the pitch is like, and it'll go 200 yards away because the pitch is so nice. I think we've got to be a bit more confident. We've got to be a bit more, yes, consistency has to come. We have to start getting results. But I think the likes of Oxford, the likes of Preston, the likes of Blackburn, when they come to our place, it will be a totally different kettle of fish than when we go to their place because they've got home advantage. They know their pitch. They know the way they play. They can't necessarily play that way on our pitch. And we've seen that with other games when teams have come to try and play us at Portland Road, we've found a way. Yeah. And a lot of these teams that we've struggled against, the Blackburns, the Prestons, the Oxfords, when they come to our place, they will try, they will do, but we will find a way like we have done for most of the games.
And we'll find out, obviously, with Oxford coming to town soon. James says the heart they showed tonight is what we're missing. A few better passes, finishes, and we won by a few more. Fantastic. Don't forget, we are part with Stowmarket Osteopaths, giving quality care in Stowmarket since 1985. It's a whole long time for osteopaths and physiotherapy services. Give Freddie a call. He is the governor there. 01449 613 633. That's 01449 613 633. Lee, Wes Burns, back on the score sheet. Talk to me about Wes Burns back on the score sheet and the cameo performance from him this evening.
Well, I said on the last show, didn't I? I didn't think he'd be here next. He'd be here next season, and I don't change that. But if there's ever a goal that makes you want to shed a tear, that mid-season, that would be it. And it was, and as my lad said, sitting next to me, it reminded me of the Huddersfield goal
very much
on the way to the promotion of the Championship. The way it was moved from Nunes, just laid it on a plate for him. Yes, again, another slight deflection. But you make your own luck. If you spend more time and you keep creating those chances, as McKenna says, they're going to go for you. And it's quite often you get those chances where there's a little nick, just changes the flight of the ball. But so pleased for him. And you could see it in all the players, and you could see the reaction to McKenna on the sideline. How pleased he was for Burns, because Burns has been he's a legend for the club, and to see him come back and to score that, it's Royal Rovers stuff.
But obviously, Sidra Eggley started the game, and Lee in the chat says Eggley again not at it tonight. He's young, but he looked like the game was too much for him. What are your thoughts on that one, Lee? In terms of the Eggley comment from Lee,
I think the left back had him measured the first couple of minutes, give him a hard hit first minute, didn't he? And got a couple of, but when you get the ball to him and he squares him up and he's running at him, then that's when he's at his best. So like any winger, any of our wingers, and any wingers in general, if you get really tight and they get the ball to their feet with their back to goal, they're really hard for them to do anything. Once you give him the space and run at him, I think he looked a threat, and there's more to come from him. He's not going to set the world alight every week, but he does have this rapport with Nunes. He does. And there was a move and it's worked 3 or 4 times. I've seen at least 3 or 4 times this season where the goes out to a gully. Nunes comes inside or for it, and he's in a tight situation, does a bit of a spin and a back flick, and a gully's moved round and he's taken the ball. That's rehearsed, I guess. But there's a relationship really building when them two are together. That's getting better every game. But a little bit quiet. But he's not gonna be a worldie every week.
No, absolutely not. Don't forget, we are live again tomorrow, 7:30. We break this game down in more detail. So do come and join us once again live tomorrow evening at 7:30 for Talking Town. I've got Mike D in the chat, Jacob Haridason, obviously trying to combine there. Herman Haridason, one of Town's great left backs of yesteryear, with Jacob Greaves' performance, which once again was good. Raxmax asks me this question, Steve, but I'm going to put it forward to you because I'll be probably doing the match preview for our next game. So I'm going to leave my powder a little bit dry. But Max, here's one for you, Gov. Does McKenna stick with the squad next game, or does he make changes? Does McKenna stick with the same 11 for you, Steve, or would you be looking to make some changes?
I think some changes will be made. I think Philogene will come in for the next game. He was obviously fit enough to be on the bench. And, at the end of the day, you can't not turn around and say, yeah, Clarke. I think Clarke was wonderful tonight. I really did. The pass to Nunes for that final goal was sublime. How he found the room to get past that pass through was unreal.
Yeah.
And he was wonderful tonight. But you also got to understand, Philogene is lethal at home, and Clarke can do the business as well. We've got two really good left wingers. And I think that's not a problem when you've got two really good left wingers who are playing like they are playing, because then you can rest one and play the other. I think Philogene will come in for Saturday. I don't know if Davies will be fit. I don't think it matters. If Davies is fit, we can play Greaves though. But I think if Davies is fit, he'll come back in. Barring that, and I think Taylor might drop out on Saturday.
Yeah, I'm with you, Steve.
So I think probably 2 or 3 changes. I
actually think you could probably leave 10 out of the 11 and be absolutely delighted with it. The only change I would say you probably have to make, as it's Oxford at home, is if he's fit, it's Leif Davis. Look, Jacob Greaves had a fantastic performance this evening. Lee Anderson, a really good performance from Jacob Greaves. The Coventry are, no disrespect to Oxford, a much better side to Oxford. They're going to pose a lot more, you'd have thought, questions and look to get in behind your back line a lot more. Jacob Greaves is a defender first, an attacker second. Leif Davis is an attacker first, a defender second. And against Oxford, I feel you're probably going to need more of the attacker first, defender second. I might be wrong, but if Leif Davis is fit, he comes back into that team every single week for me.
Yeah. Here's a thought for you, and I was thinking about it during the game. Do you think having Clarke and Greaves is a better relationship than Clarke and Leif Davis? In terms of, I think Clarke, so Philogene will run off the line a little bit more, and so or hold the touchline even more, and Davis will come running through. But because of the way Davis isn't, Greaves isn't as marauding, I think that just means Clarke can play more of his natural game.
I agree.
I don't think when he played at Sunderland, he had that marauding fullback quite as much in that system. So I just wondered if there's a better relationship there tonight. I'm not saying that's why Clarke was picked ahead of Philogene tonight, but that just seemed to work tonight, and I just wonder. I don't know. It just seems to work. But as Stephen says, when Davis is fit, he comes into the side. But you've got this. I mean, who would have thought playing a centre back at full back? I mean, who was the last manager to do that? Really, I wonder. Good old Mick McCarthy, eh?
Yeah.
Did it for years, didn't he? Did it for years.
Yeah, don't remind me.
Sorry, I just
cheered him up knowing that, hasn't it?
Yeah, just cheered him up. Just cheered him up. But it worked. I mean, fair play to Greaves. There was one run though. I think it was second half, and I said to my lad, I said, the ball went out, and Clarke had the ball, and he played it out to Greaves, and I said to my lad, I said, Davis would have been another 25 yards up the pitch, would have been on the last, on the line. And there was one where he wasn't. That's not disrespectful for Greaves, but there's the difference there in what you're getting.
But we break quicker with Davis there than what we do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he's faster. But, there's things that you lose and there's things that you gain.
Yeah.
But I do think, Davis will come back if he's fit. That's all, if he's got it.
Sure.
But,
I agree.
I'm going to sit here and I'll go, look, at the end of the day, we've got 3 points at this moment. Well, I don't know what the score is, but we're ahead. So at this moment in time, we were 2 points behind Middlesbrough. We've got some games that are mathematically possible that we can win. You know, I'm not saying they're easy, but they're a lot easier than the game we've just played. You know, or the last two, because both games were pretty tricky, and we've come out of them with 4 points. Sure. So I'm looking to the new year. You know, we've got the January window opening a bit. I'm looking to the new year in February. I'm thinking, well, I'm a lot more confident than I were before, you know, a couple of weeks ago.
Okay, all right. As we round up, don't forget we are live again tomorrow at 7:30, breaking it all down in more detail. Jack Clarke was given man of the match. I either want you to tell me if you agree with that, and if you do, absolutely no problem. We'll move on very quickly. But if you don't, who should have been given man of the match for you? Stephen Perry, we'll start with you.
Jack Clarke, I thought he was excellent. It really was. Excellent. He ran the line. He put some great balls in. You know, he put some nice passes in. He defended when he needed to. I do want to give a shout out for Azon. I thought he was all over the place. He really run his heart out to try and chase down anything that was going. You know what I mean? And he really put pressure on the back line, and he caused a few mistakes as well, which fair play to him.
Brilliant. And don't forget, look for your town news, views, fan opinion, and more. Hit the subscribe button. Join Talking Town. Lee, same question to you. Yeah,
I agree. You know, you can't argue beyond Clarke. As on, yeah, he does work his socks. I just like to see him stay on his feet a little bit more. That's my only thing with him. But a shout out to Jack Taylor, I think, as well, coming back into the side. You can see the rotation, the freshness in him. That, you know, he could go for that time in the game. And you look at Coventry, are they playing too many games? I don't know how they're rotating their squad, but you know, I know we've knocked the McKenna bingo before, or people have, but you can see it on games like this where Taylor comes in and you wouldn't notice the difference.
They look tired.
Yeah, and he's had a really good game. I mean, just while we're on midfielders, can I just have I don't know if you've mentioned it on the show and that, but just to mention a shout out to Robin Turner, who passed away last week. I think it's really important. As an Old Town fan, I remember him from the great Robson side, fringe player, but yeah, a shout out to him, and let's dedicate the result to him. Well said. Well said. We're back live again tomorrow night, 7:30. So do join us then. But until then, Steve and Lee, appreciate you. Steve for joining me from the get-go. Lee for clicking the link and staying with us. But just as important as all, thank you at home for watching and being a part of the Talking Town show. See you tomorrow night, 7:30. But until then, Town have won 3 points, 4 from 6. Happy day. You've reached the end. Thank you so much for watching. Hit here to subscribe. It's totally free. And hit here for more Talking Town videos. I'll see you on the next one.